what is your personal view of how transformation would look like in enterprises, especially in the context of AI rollouts?
So if companies haven't started, definitely they need to start looking at. But if they have already started, then picking the right use case and going one after the other.
Whatever be the technology, it has to be ROI centric.
It has to be
right?
ROI.
So you change the conversation from an emerging tech conversation to what's the best benefit that you're going to get as an Hey, hi guys. Welcome to our next episode of the Coffee Conversation series. Today I'm very excited to invite Uma. We've known Uma in the capacity of being the executive advisor for Hanger Clinics, one of our customers. But she's an industry veteran, especially from a financial services domain, and had a very distinguished career. I'm really looking forward to talk to you. A quick few things about Uma before she starts off. She's been the Senior Vice President and the Head of Supervision and Regulatory Control Technology at LPL Financial. She, I think, led the whole innovation lab and bunch of other things in her earlier stint at Wells Fargo. The most important one I really liked is the fact that she's, in 2023, she was recognized among the top 20 women leaders in the Bay Area, the San Francisco area. She has 30 plus US patents to her name, along with co-authored with many bright leaders. Really excited to talk to you. Especially on the focus and experience that you've had on the innovation side of things, how you drove adoption with multiple industries. So these will be some of the things that I'm really excited to talk. Welcome to our Coffee Conversation series.
Thank you so much. Very, very happy to be here and talking with you, Jagan.
Absolutely. Really looking forward to. Obviously with the little that we've worked together with, obviously you came across to me as someone who's been always, in the quest for driving innovation in the enterprises, identifying the areas where they could be made more efficient to drive transformation. How do you deal with identifying the areas which have the greatest of business impact when you're doing? So these are some of the areas that I want to talk, and of course the whole AI aspect of what's going on, especially in the recent times, right? Let's start with the basic question, right? Especially with leaders like you, when you go ahead and try to bring a transformation in an enterprise, be it through innovation, be it through rollouts, right? What's the criteria that you apply to identify the right use cases? Because that's easy said than done, as you know, right? So if you might throw some light on it.
Sure, yeah. As the old saying goes, necessity is the mother of invention, right? So just like that, whenever there is a problem statement, so when there is a true business problem, that triggers an action. And it could be an action that we would have to innovate and find what would be the right thing. So, I always try to say innovation need not be rocket science. It's to doing simple things in a better and efficient manner. So when there is a business pain point, that is the triggering point. So it could be a scalability issue, it could be keeping the systems up, a stability issue, and one of those where we would have to do an immediate modernization or any of those. Or it could be the customers that we serve, if there is a pain point, or can we serve them in a shorter duration instead of taking how many ever days or anything. If it can be shortened, or if we can improve the efficiency within, those are all the business pain points, and take some of those and then try to see what in some cases you could apply the technology and straight build it. In some case we have to think differently. So at that time, try out multiple options and see which one is the best, whether it's a different process approach or whether it's a new technology approach, and that's probably called innovation, I guess, because you're trying multiple things to solve a problem. So
okay.
That's
okay. But in general, when you are approaching to identify the use case itself, what do you suggest? Do you have to go to the use case? Typically the use case stares at you. What's the mechanism you've seen when you are trying to identify the pain
It's
points?
both push and a pull.
Uh-huh.
So when it is a push, you are like how you guys are doing. You're watching the market, you're watching the new technology trends, you are analyzing, researching, and you think, oh, this particular technology could be used for this problem. So then you're going and pushing, saying, okay, this could be solved this way. And that's more of a sell approach, where you would have to say that, okay, by using this way, you can solve this problem more effectively. And that sometimes clicks, but that's you have to do more of a show and tell. Whereas the pull approach is the business leaders come to you with, oh, I have this problem, I don't know what can be solved. So so I would say it's both the ways, push and a pull.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So when you, especially in the areas where you're trying to innovate something, bring that emerging tech into the enterprise, of course you have to catch up with the evolving trends and technologies, but more often than not, the initial versions of that leave a lot of technical depth too, right? So what's your suggestion on, because a lot of people don't take that approach because, oh, you're worrying about technical debt. Some people just adopt it and never get back to fixing the technical debt. So what has been your experience, especially in this AI-driven transformation world? What do you see, how this works?
I think definitely with the way technology is evolving, emerging technologies has a greater power to solve many business problems. So I always say you can accelerate your business value using emerging technologies. But if it is like a proven tech and you're applying that to solve a particular problem, then you can go build the solution and solve the problem. But if it is a brand new tech, like for example, when I was leading the innovation labs at Wells, there were a lot of things that were very nascent, like blockchain was still being, yeah, exactly. So it was all being figured out, and authentication. A lot of the authentication was being figured out. We would like augmented reality, virtual reality came in, but that was all more like a play, like a jazzy thing. It wasn't fully adopted to solve any business problems. So in those situations, start slow. Definitely take a small use case and do a prototype or a proof of concept. I love doing proof of concepts because that clearly you can evaluate, and at the end of the proof of concept, you make a good decision and then build on top of it. We cannot jump onto, don't put all your eggs in a basket and do. So really play it out, see, and in case of maybe pilot it out to, depending on what industry, what type of product that we are building. So pilot it out to a fewer customer segment, and then go for the big thing.
That's so well put. Because in fact, even when we are now talking to customers, especially who are trying to get the best out of the possible technology advantage with AI, we always start off saying that the journey has to be a POC, pilot, production. So that's typically, so just thank you for throwing light on that. And you coming from a very regulated, compliance-oriented domain, right? The financial domain is very, and I mean even in healthcare it's no different, right? So when you talk about front-ending these transformations, which are mostly AI-driven these days, what are those extra cautions, or for that matter, sometimes people are cautious more than required. What is your suggestion to enterprise leaders? What should they be looking out for, and what should they be not really spending so much time on, right? Because you can't do anything about it.
There used to be times where financial institutions would not even think about cloud, because we can't trust anyone with our data sitting elsewhere. But now things have changed. Things are improving. So my approach would always be, in some cases you have to take the risk, but do it with caution. And you would have to adapt. If we keep putting risk and things in front, we can
Move forward.
move forward. So we would have to really take the approach of doing it, but do it with caution, and do it with the smaller, like a POC approach or any of those. But definitely whatever, especially in the AI world, make do have a complete governance process, and vet the things, and with all the data privacy and everything, that's really key. So we would have to make it explainable, or we would have to follow all the regulatory rules, and then, but within that, you can go so far. I call these a leash dog. So where you still stay within the boundaries of your regulations, but you can go as far as you can.
So that's a good analogy. So in a very controlled manner,
yes,
still go ahead and do everything, but clearly draw the boundaries and make sure that that this won't be crossed.
Exactly.
Come what may.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. Thank you. So again, I really want to also talk about your experience from the setting up of innovation labs, be it at Wells Fargo and elsewhere too. One of the things that, let's say as a leader, you set up an innovation team. Now the innovation team has come up with something really good, but how do you make it into the mainstream production? So in Gartner used to talk about bimodal strategy, right? So, but then how does it come back into the actual BAU? When you do innovation, and how does it not just remain a shiny ball, shiny object per se? So you want to give some of your experiences?
Sure. Yeah. So there is always an immediate need, which is like kind of like a 911 situation, right? So those are all you have to do tomorrow morning, or else there is going to be a thing. So that in that case, there won't be much of an innovative thinking or anything. It's kind of like something is leaking and we need to fix it right away. But when we do things on a little longer term, like in the next 18 months, next 24 months, so those are things that we can really build and we can realize the value. Whereas the horizon 3s are kind of like a long term. 5 years from now, I'm doing something which I really don't know if it will see the end, light at the end of the tunnel or not. So we would have to be really cautious. We should really do that, because that's where we are pushing ourselves out of the comfort zone, and we are trying to do a far-fetched thinking. But limit the percentage of those to a shorter percentage, but focus more on the 18 to 24 month thing. And that's where, like the analogy that I told you, the push versus pull, if the business leaders are coming to you, then innovating on those, it is really to solve a particular use case. You already have a sponsor. So then it's much easier. So you would have to combine all of that, or we cannot just be sitting and creating new things without there has to be a buyer.
Yeah. Okay. So the buy-in is what's the bridge between
that,
the innovation to the adoption per se. Yeah. Okay. Obviously in all these areas, be it to drive the adoption, be it to create these innovation labs, one of the most important thing is people, right? So you need to create these high-performing teams per se. So what has been your experience because I also run an innovation team, right? There is a different mindset that is required when you're working in an innovation team versus, I'm happy to come and monitor a job to the end of the day, and then if it breaks, I'll fix it. So how do you build those kind of teams? Do you have some suggestions?
So everyone is really eager to do something new. So that's what I have seen. But it needs people who want to work on product development. They have certain specific qualities, and people who want to work on innovation labs probably have a specific quality. As long as they are not attached. So in innovation labs, you would create something, and that might not see production at all. You might have shelf it and just move on. So as long as people are okay to try and not get attached to the product, they are good candidates. Whereas those candidates will not. I've led these huge engineering teams where we would have to ship product to production to work for our customers. So for them, it's the meticulous nature of it and the details behind it, and it has to be moving from a POC to production is a big jump. It should have all the bells and whistles, because at a POC you're just validating a concept, you're doing it, and that need not have the production grade everything. But so the mindset of these two are very different. But in both the cases there has to be curiosity, and getting the attention to detail and bringing is really key.
Okay, good. I want to jump a little bit on the AI side of things,
Sure.
right? Now, because when you were mentioning about the IoT days, etc., the blockchain days,
Yeah,
etc., those were those days, because those were those shiny balls at that time. Now it's generative AI,
Yes.
agentic AI, bunch of these terms, and with models releasing every other day. Now products are also getting released every other day on the Gen AI side. What is your personal view of how transformation would look like in enterprises, especially in the context of AI rollouts?
So every company in whatever industry, everyone has realized, and everyone thinks that we have to get into this AI game, or else we're going to be left behind. So everyone obviously need to get in and identify the right use cases on where can we apply. Just don't bring in and put a model or any of that just for the sake of it. But what is there had to be strong analysis in the company on what is going to be the biggest ROI, and start from there, and slowly everything, not just one use case, the entire, like how it used to be digital first or digital native things, it is going to be AI native. So that's an inevitable thing. So if companies haven't started, definitely they need to start looking at. But if they have already started, then picking the right use case and going one after the other for some time. But then all the ones that are starting from that point onwards need to be AI first.
So whatever be the technology, it has to be ROI centric.
It has to be ROI centric.
So once you have it ROI centric, technology is just becoming an enabler.
Exactly.
So you change the conversation from an emerging tech conversation to what's the best benefit that you're going to get as an organization.
Exactly. You started the question with it used to be IoT, it used to be that, and now it's generic. Tomorrow it's going to be something else.
Yeah.
So it has to be like, what is our business value, and how can we, whether it can be a lot of the back office improvements, improving efficiency or delighting the customer. What is going to be useful for the customer, or reducing the time frame that we deliver or experience, or any of those. So so put your ROI first, and then pick the things.
Good. In general, has there been any pattern that you saw how enterprises are adopting these emerging technologies? What are the trends that you have seen where they have been successful when they're adopting these technologies?
So companies do it in different patterns. Some companies, leave the technology product companies, but any industry, be it retail or financial services or healthcare or any of them, if they are a bigger company, they'll have their own technology divisions and tech org, where constantly they upskill their people and they try to do it. But the most common thing that companies would want to do is, for their initial period of getting into the particular technology, always rely on a dependent, like a reliable technology partner. So as long as they can come in and get a jump start, like companies like Accurate.
That,
exactly. So do some of that, and then companies cannot always depend on the partners also. They have to have their own domain knowledge, and the SMEs need to stay there. So it'll be a combination of use the development partners to help you as a jumpstart, launchpad, and then keep going. So those.
Now, wherever we have gone and seen success, just from the other side of things, as a vendor also, the places where we've seen success happening is when people have outsourced the problem in a way where it becomes a technology, a problem solving a domain problem, with the domain being held by them.
Yes.
So the core of the domain, if it's being held, the problem statement is well understood and well defined by the customer. How it has to be solved. If it is being taken help from partners like us, we've really been able to show success and value of that project delivery. So that's very nice.
Yeah, a lot of companies do like augment the teams with partners,
yes.
and that's one approach. And then the other one is completely giving out a particular problem statement and asking them to solve. And I think there's no one right way or wrong way, and it depends on the case to case and whatever works would be. But the teams have to definitely work as a team, both the enterprise's technology team plus the partner team, to make it successful.
No, that's very well said. Again, one area, I truly believe that how much our emphasis is kept on it is less, is whenever you're going for the scenario of implementing and adopting these transformations, especially with emerging technologies, the focus on governance is super important. We just spoke about it a bit also, right? So, through multiple waves of innovation and technologies that you've seen, if you could just talk about what bits form these governance, what are the do's and don'ts that organizations should be doing when it comes to governance, I'd love to hear that from you.
In every product development, before putting a code to production, people are used to architecture review boards now. So to look at the tech stack and what is being built and everything. So now, but those are for a fully baked thing that goes into production. Whereas when we adopt new emerging tech, or doing an AI thing, or getting vendor products, third-party vendor products are a great addition for companies, because they don't need to build anything. In all of those, there has to be a proper way how to buy, which one to pick, or in that case, will it align with the company's tech stack, or any of those? In all of those, different companies call it different names, like Technology Governance Council, or if it is AI specific, AI Governance Council, or any of those. So the first thing on those are, there has to be a formal, like a chair or committee or a board that would meet in a periodic, depending on the organization size and need. It has to meet on a periodic basis, and like an intake process of what are all the use cases. Because just because AI is a boon, everybody will, in many organizations, start with all kinds of use cases. Is it really going to make, does it make sense? Is there ROI? So there has to be an intake process, and in there it has to be vetted as like, is this the right use case? And if that is the right use case, then how are we solving it? Yes, within AI, and which specific model or a tool or what are we going to use, and what are the approved tools that are going to be there, and then within the governance, there also has to be, is the end product, whatever is being built, is it reusable? Is it does it follow all the standards? There shouldn't be any shortcuts or anything. And is it explainable? Responsible AI is being taught. Does it abide by all the privacy? Do we have the data privacy? Have we masked the data? So all of that need to be just documented. There has to be a charter put together and a committee formed, and the committee has to meet in a periodic basis to approve. Okay, let's go ahead, approve this project, and then it comes back and a review of it. Okay, now it's approved to move forward and move to production and all of those. So that, depending on the size of the organization, it can be small or big or rigid or any of that. But at a high level, there has to be a committee put together to take care of these specific gates.
Absolutely. I think setting up these teams to make sure that it's happening within the boundary of the leash talk analogy that you spoke about, but also making sure that you are covering across multiple areas. Like, when people talk about AI governance, people think that it's about model governance. It might be also with respect to the data governance. It might be also with respect to the infra that facilitates the data, as well as so a bunch of areas that you need to look into. Good. Yeah. So Uma, in your experience, you've been part of a lot of engineering teams. You've led these engineering teams. In today's day and age, if I have to ask you, if you are a CTO, what would be those things that you'd prescribe for improving, let's say, development productivity or in general operational efficiency of your teams and the organization? What would your advice be?
So developer productivity always doesn't mean like speed. In my opinion, I would say it's clarity and providing the development team the necessary tools. And today is a fantastic time. We are living in the AI age where it could be AI tools to help them create either code or do some testing, writing unit test scripts, right from there to DevSecOps to everywhere. So it's providing the tools, so and upskilling them with the proper things. So in which case they would be able to clearly solve more newer problems than doing mundane things and doing everything, and also make them accountable. Measure their success, not just with the lines of codes committed or this or anything like that, but meaningful, purpose-driven things that they do. So holding people accountable always gives them a sense of ownership, and they really try to do good things. And similarly, in the operations, whether it's in the DevSecOps teams or in incident management or any of those, improving the observability and improving metrics, and giving all kinds of like monitoring and alerts if it has not been done, because I've seen in many organizations it's in different level of maturity. So those are all the things that definitely as tech executives we need to pay more attention and improve on them, and which will also it'll give like a good camaraderie in feeling within the technology organization, rather than no one wants an incident and a production call in the middle of the night and being on the incident calls to solve them for a long time. So enabling them with proper tools will really help them, and that way we can measure ourselves and reduce the cost of the technology org for the company.
Of course, final, but the most important question that I really wanted to dwell upon is, I know you're a big advocate for women in tech, so I cannot leave you without you talking about why is that important to you, and talk about in general what's the message for especially all the women in at least Activate and other IT companies, what's that they should look forward to and what should they aspire for?
I think yes, I have a very passionate about mentoring and helping other women and all of that. So that's I do it all the time. So women, they start off, you know it, as they grow up in the career ladder, there is always a barrier, and I think the number keeps decreasing as they go higher up. So I always tell the people to be their own self-advocates. It's because I think generally, I don't know whether there is always a bias between different genders. Women, they don't raise their hands to say, hey, take me in for a project or take me in for a promotion or any of those. But that is, I would always say you have to be your own self-advocate. And don't wait for the opportunity to be called upon or anything. So you would have to go in and raise your hands and come out of your comfort zone. Don't self-doubt about yourself. There's a lot of imposter syndrome in that. It's like, can I do it? Or there's no rule book. It's not like somebody else knows and they're doing it. So whether it is good or bad, just say it. What is the worst case that can happen? So always think about what's the worst case. And then whatever less is going to happen, it's all bonus. So just go for it.
Yeah.
And the other one this is not just for women, but for everyone, I would always say, give feedback and get feedback, which is more very important.
Absolutely.
On that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And coming out of the comfort zone is really important.
Yeah. No, thank you very much. Thanks for joining in and
Sure.
sharing your valuable stuff. I hope your inter travels and the travels back are safe.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.